Welcome to Untold Chronicles. Today's video is 12 historical facts you should know. Number 1. Augustus Caesar was the wealthiest man to ever live in history. The nephew and heir of Julius Caesar, Roman Emperor Augustus, had an estimated net worth of $0.46 trillion when counting for inflation. Some say that Mansa Musa, king of Timbuktu, was the world's wealthiest man, as his wealth was apparently too great to count. However, Augustus's staggering wealth could be measured. Number 2. Alexander the Great was buried alive, accidentally. At age 32, when he died, Alexander the Great had conquered and created the largest land-based empire the world has ever seen. It stretched from the Balkans to Pakistan. In 323 BC, Alexander fell ill, and after 12 days of excruciating pain, he seemingly passed away. However, his corpse didn't show any signs of rot or decomposition for a whole 6 days. Modern-day scientists believe Alexander suffered from the neurological disorder Guillain-Barré syndrome. They believe that when he died, he was actually just paralyzed and mentally aware. Basically, he was horrifically buried alive. Number 3. The world's most successful pirate in history was a lady. Named Qing Shi, this was until commander of the Red Flag Fleet bought and married her. But rather than just viewing her as a wife, her husband considered her his equal, and she became an active pirate commander in the fleet. Qing Shi soon earned the respect of her fellow pirates. So much so that after her husband's death, she became the captain of the fleet. Under Shi's leadership, the Red Flag Fleet consisted of over 300 warships, with a possible 1,200 more support ships. She even had a possible 40,000 to 80,000 men, women, and children. They terrorized the waters around China. The Red Flag Fleet was such a fearsome band of raiders that the Chinese government eventually pardoned Qing Shi and her entire fleet, just to get them off the high seas. Number 4. In the ancient Olympics, athletes performed naked. The athletes did this to imitate the gods, but also to help them easily clear toxins from their skin through sweating after each attempt at a sport. In fact, the word gymnastics comes from the ancient Greek words gymnasia, athletic training, exercise, and gymnos, naked. This translates as to train naked. Number 5. Julius Caesar was stabbed 23 times. Julius Caesar is probably the most iconic name associated with the Romans. Likewise, his assassination and death are also highly notorious. Due to his coup d'état of the Roman Republic and his proclamation of himself as dictator for life, along with his radical political views, a group of his fellow Roman senators led by his best friend Brutus assassinated him on March 15, 44 BC. During the assassination, Caesar was stabbed at least 23 times before finally succumbing to his wounds. He passed away with fabled words to his former best friend Brutus, allegedly being, "You too, sweet child?" Number 6. The Colosseum was originally clad entirely in marble. When you visit or see the Colosseum these days, you'll notice how the stone exterior appears to be covered in pockmarks all across its surface. Whilst you might assume this is just a degradation of the material due to its age, it is actually because it was originally clad almost entirely in marble. The reason for the pockmarks is after the fall of Rome, the city was looted and pillaged by the Goths. Yes, that's right, the Goths. They took all of the marble from the Colosseum and stripped it, mostly, down to its bare stone setting. The holes in the stone are from where the iron clamps and poles attaching the marble cladding to it have been ripped out. Number 7. It was named the Colosseum because it was next to a statue called the Colossus. It was originally known as the Amphitheatrum Flavium, or Flavian Amphitheater, as it was constructed during the Flavian dynasty. Residents of Rome nicknamed it the Colosseum. This was due to the fact that it was built next to a 164-foot statue of Emperor Nero known as the Colossus of Nero. Number 8. Rasputin survived being poisoned and shot. Grigory Rasputin was a Russian mystic and supposed holy man. He became friends with the last Russian Tsar and Tsarina. Over time, he came to influence the Russian royals, much to the displeasure of many members of the Russian nobility. This, combined with his drunkenness and lechery, led to several Russian nobles forming a plot to assassinate the man. They invited him over to one of their houses, gave him cakes and wine laced with cyanide, all to no effect, and then shot him in the chest. To their horror, Rasputin started to cough, and they realized he was still alive. How did they fix the problem? The nobles shot Rasputin 2 more times, once in the head. Finally, they threw his body into the frozen Malaya Nevka River. Number 9. There were female gladiators. A female gladiator was called a gladiatrix, or gladiatresses, plural. They were rarer than their male counterparts. Gladiatresses served the same purpose of executing criminals, fighting each other, and fighting animals in Rome's various fighting pits. Number 10. The Vikings were the first people to discover America. Half a millennium before Christopher Columbus discovered America, Viking chief Leif Erikson of Greenland landed on the island of Newfoundland in the year 1000 AD. The Vikings under Leif Erikson settled Newfoundland as well as discovering and settling Labrador further north in Canada. Number 11. The Luftwaffe had a master interrogator whose tactic was being as nice as possible. Hans Scharf was a master interrogator who was very much against physical torture and brutality. His techniques were so successful that the U.S. military later incorporated his methods into their own interrogation schools. Scharf's best tactics for squeezing information out of prisoners included nature walks without guards present, baking them homemade food, cracking jokes, drinking beers, and afternoon tea with German fighter aces. He even took trips to visit fellow pals and swimming pool parties. And on some rare occasions, even test flights of German fighter aircraft. Number 12. In ancient Asia, death by elephant was a popular form of execution. As elephants are very intelligent and easy to train, it proved easy enough to train them as executioners and torturers. They could be taught to slowly break bones, crush skulls, twist off limbs, or even execute people using large blades fitted to their tusks. In some parts of Asia, this method of execution was still popular up to the late 19th century.